Good evening to everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day and a wonderful day as well. We are able to join celebrations for Holika Dahan here at RKT. If not, you could vicariously live it through us from time to time. So again, a very warm welcome. Let's get started. Today is our second session on Holi. We will conclude our conversation that we started yesterday, go a little more deeper into the topic that we've been talking about, how to get the color that we are seeking for, right? We spoke about which color we need, and now today we'll talk about how to drench ourselves in that color. So again, a very warm welcome. Let's get started. We have a hard stop today, so we'll try to pace it accordingly. I'm going to share my screen and please let me know if you are able to see it. Is it?
G. Perfect. Bye.
Okay, just give me a sec. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Can you see the full screen now?
G.
Great. All right. So we'll get started with our opening prayers. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right, Radhe Radhe. So let's get started. We'll probably pick up 3 hands today because we have to really pace it today. We have a wonderful presentation coming up as well. So I would really like to do it quickly. Just 3 hands today. Macha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate Sagunan samatityetyan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Now this is a shloka I picked up in context with Holi, so don't think we have moved forward on 14th chapter. We are doing a recap of chapter 3 and we are technically on chapter 4. But we go back and forth, and because it is Holi, I picked up a shloka that is relevant to our discussion. So that's why in 1426 for the benefit of new participants. So let's pick up 3 hands. Shyamji, you get to choose who are those 3 hands, and then we move forward on today's discussion.
Rahul bhai, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Mam cha yo vyabhichareణ bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitayatan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Very nice, Rahul. Radhe Radhe.
Sam ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Mam chayo avyabhichareण bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Wow.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe.
Shri Ramya ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe. Mam chayo vyabhichareణ bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatiyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Thank you.
Nice, thank you. All right, we said 3. We'll take 1 more because I see 1 more camera on, and Rupa ji is going to recite after a long time. So 1 more hand.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Radhe Radhe everyone. Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samtityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Thank you, Rupa ji. Okay, we'll make it 5 because Uday ji turned on his video as well. So last one now. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Mam chayo vibicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Ji, Radhe Radhe. Okay. I always feel bad if I don't take. So 2 more, no more. Okay, Riya ji and Sairam ji.
Riya ji, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Mam cha yogyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate saguna samatityaitam brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Wonderful, Riya
Radhe
ji.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Last but not the least, Sairam ji.
Sairam ji.
Radhe Radhe. Mam cha yoga vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati taitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Wonderful, very nice, Sairam ji. Good to hear from you. Okay, so let's get started. In this one, Lord is saying, those who serve me with unalloyed devotion rise above the 3 modes of material nature and come to the level of Brahman. Now, 3 modes of material nature are the 3 colors that we need to rise beyond. Right now, we are hung up and infatuated. What is talking about, and that is how we can come to the level of Brahman. Coming to the level of Brahman means you become like Brahman. Okay, you still retain your identity, but you become like Brahman at that point. So let's get started. This is what we're going to talk about. We'll do a quick recap of what we spoke about yesterday, and how can we change the quality and shades of our heart is going to be the topic of our discussion today. Okay, this is an important topic because there are a lot of practices which basically promise that will help us enable reach the goal of life. However, there's only one practice that can truly change the quality of our mind. Our mind, otherwise, no matter what we are doing, it can take us to certain experiences, even siddhis, but the quality of mind will not be tinkered or changed for good unless we do this practice. And that's what we're going to talk about. How do we get that color of God? What kind of practices or practice we can do to get there? And what is the driving emotion behind it? So let's get started. A quick recap of what we spoke about. We said that our heart is delving in these 3 realms, right? The tamas, rajas, and sattva of material world. So if you look at it every day, every minute, every hour, right? Every month and throughout life, every lifetime, we play Holi. Okay, we play Holi with Maya, the 3 gunas of Maya. Depending upon the mode that gets activated in our head, we choose that color and color ourselves. That color gets deeply entrenched in our heart, deeper and deeper and deeper. So it could be tamasic when we are getting upset, angry, worrying, all those emotions. That means we are playing Holi with tamasic color of Maya. When we are action oriented and we want to enjoy stuff and we want to make things happen or desire material things and work towards those, then we are playing Holi with the crimson or the rajasic color, red color, as you see. And when we are in a very peaceful state of mind and calm, having noble thoughts, creative ideas and stuff like that, then we are playing Holi in our mind with the sattvic color. However, all 3 are limiting. And it's only when we start mixing or taking our mind to Sham Sundar, God himself, that's when it will start shining. The heart will start cleaning and shining, as you can see. More you do that, and until it is completely entrenched in Shamarang. Okay, so the glow or the shine will start coming in only when we start attaching it to God. Till that point, you will reach a threshold, but that intensity won't come, which will bring in that glow or the true knowledge that is needed. So this is the tamas, rajas, sattva, and we spoke about this concept. That beautiful verse from Swamiji. He says, "Ye aruragi chitta ki gati samjhe na koi, jonjo dube shamarang tyonto ujjwal hoy." So it's the only way to make it shine or polish our heart is to immerse itself in Shamarang, which means immerse itself in God itself. Now we spoke about the drink. Which drink can crave you for more and more and more, and none of the material drinks we concluded actually take you to that stage. Okay. And then we also spoke about the concept. It's the Shamrang and Gaur Ras. Shamras and Gaur Ras, which mutually God enjoys from each other. However, as devotees, we get to enjoy both of these in the vessel of bhakti. Okay, so we are very fortunate in that sense. We can devour this nectar when we do our devotion and we inculcate the spirit of serving God and Guru and do Rup Dhyan, immerse ourselves in bhajans. Then we can devour this nectar. And this can only, that relish cannot be articulated, right? You can only experience it when you are feeling it. And it's a matter of realization. And the bliss, the ecstasy, the joy, or the realizations that you will feel when you start immersing yourself in this ras is a matter of experience. Saints try to explain it. It manifests in state, saints in form of ashtasattvic bhav, and even in normal human beings in form of tears and certain overflowing of heart, which happens without reason. You don't know why it's happening, but it's happening. That's basically a small abhas or the trace of God that you experience, right? The tears will flow down, a very different kind of a peace and calm that you feel. The joy factor increases and you feel yourself inspired, and it's just like outpour of emotions that starts happening. And that is a state that devotees get to relish pretty frequently because they immerse themselves in seva, sadhana, and those kind of things. Especially when you work in close contact with a God-realized saint, these experiences become very natural at that point, right? Where you're experiencing it and you understand where it's coming from. But only devotions, through devotion, you can achieve these states, or you can experience this on this path. And bhakti is the adhar shila, or the foundation for that. God is saying unalloyed. Right now, the devotion is not unalloyed because we are not yet there. There are 10 other things which are taking our mind space. But when it becomes unalloyed, the bliss just keeps on going to the next level. Now, the question comes, how do we get to that stage, right? So we spoke about this concept yesterday. So let's look at it. So here you see a candle, right? This candle is a cold wax. It is our heart. Okay. Now our heart, if a cold wax is there and you need to imbibe or imbue something on top of it, it will not happen just like that. Something needs to happen. What needs to happen? The temperature needs to be raised, right? When you heat the wax, that's when it's in a molten state, and when you add some color to it, it will take on that color, right? Now, what is this temperature now? Let's try to understand this. This temperature, basically, it enables adding color. So if you look at the wax, white wax, you can add some color to it, whichever color you want. Now, if the temperature, when it is raised, you are adding a color of Maya, black, crimson, or white, then that color is something that it will take upon automatically, right? So, and if you're adding the color of God, then of course that color can be added. Now the question comes, how do you raise the temperature? Now the fastest way to raise the temperature is through love. Now people who have fallen in love or gotten infatuated or whatever will understand, you don't need to see. It's like when you experience that emotion, everything else follows. It just takes your heart's mind space. Everything takes your mind space, right? So love is an emotion that can be utilized on this path. And even in other traditions, it is say God is love, love is God. There's a lot of focus on the aspect of love. So one emotion and everything else, right? There's a Bollywood song, Rang De Tu Mohe Gerua, right? So basically, when you fall in love, you take on the color automatically, because you don't even have to consciously think at that point. Do you need commitment when you are in love? You don't need a commitment. It's a byproduct of it. Do you need to tell somebody to tell you to serve that person whom you have fallen in love with? Of course not. It is a natural consequence of it. Commitment, trying to do something good for that person, serving that person, thinking about that person, thinking good things or positively about that person. All that is a natural consequence of love. So it is a very powerful emotion. And bhakti is nothing but unalloyed devotion, is nothing but inculcating the feelings of love for God. And when you do that, the temperature is already raised. You have already started melting the wax. And once you have molten wax, then you can put in Shamrang or Gaurang and both on that. It is ready. It's ready to take that on. But this love is not something that, again, that has to be understood, right? It's not the material love. It's a very high level of love. Another definition of love is eternal forgiveness. Now, what if God doesn't behave properly with you, right? Or you don't get the result you were thinking? You made a material desire. Okay, if it gets fulfilled, okay, God is kind, God is there, I love you, God. But if that material desire is not getting fulfilled, is God become bad? Now you don't believe in God. So that conditional love is not God. Another definition of true love is eternal forgiveness, eternally forgiven. Okay. And in Sanskrit, they say that sarvatha vidhvans rahitam. Sarvatha vidhvans rahitam means when you have a reason for it to be broken, shattered, still it is not shattered. That is called true love. In material world, it is not possible. Yeah? Either you talk about Romeo, Juliet, Heer Ranjha, or Raj Simran, the day your self-interest is obstructed, the foundation of love will start crumbling. Okay. So in divine said, it's just the opposite. It is an eternal forgiveness. You, in the spirit of sacrifice and adjustment that you do towards your beloved. That is what true love is, where you have a spirit of sacrifice and a spirit of adjustment towards your beloved. And in spiritual sense, it is eternal forgiveness. Right? Even when God behaves opposite with you, right? Like Swamiji says that beautiful verse. He says that Jafa is opposite of Wafa. Okay, Wafa is loyalty. Something favorable. Jafa is just the opposite. So Jafa में भी अंदाजे वफा होता है, दिल का आईना इससे सफा होता है. Okay, that's a beautiful verse basically. Swamiji says, so you can do waha. Okay. So Jafa में भी अंदाजे वफा होता है, दिल का आईना इससे सफा होता है. So love is something when you exercise eternal forgiveness and you don't find reasons to think negatively towards your beloved, even if they're acting opposite, then God does that. So he took Vaman avatar. Bali was such a big devotee, and he took his entire kingdom away and put the last foot on his chest itself, right? Then Shrupanakha approached him and he got his nose and ears cut. He just hid behind Bali and killed him. So God can behave just opposite at times to test you. That is why it said Jafa mein bhi andaze wafa hota hai. Basically, when he does that, even in that act, he is actually working on you, because dil ka aina isse safa hota hai. Because when you go beyond that, right, sarvatha vidhvans rahitam, when you have gotten a reason and you have been able to overcome it, that means something inside you have turned, and that will enable your heart to shine forth. So that is the key thing that needs to be understood in true love. And when you are immersed in true love, the wax has started melting automatically and it is ready to take on that color. So that is why love is a very, very important emotion. And in spirituality, especially on the bhakti path, it is the emotion that needs to be inculcated. And since love is not a verb, but it's not a noun, but a verb, basically we have to inculcate those feelings consciously, mindfully towards our aradhya. It's not it will happen, we wait for the love to happen. You think your mind, you force your mind, you give itself enough reasons to actually fall in love by thinking of countless graces, by thinking of the glories, by thinking of his mercy, by thinking of so many things. So this is a conscious thing that a devotee inculcates, because it's not going to happen just like that. If it were to happen just like that, then God will plant his love for him in everybody's heart automatically. He doesn't do that. That's where he has given us free will. And if he could do that, and he would do that, then what's the point of creation? It's like a robot in that case. You put a program, install a program, and the job is done. So if your kid comes to you and says, I love you, would it give you more satisfaction? Or would you rather brainwash your kid and give him a pill, and after eating the pill, all your kid can do is love you? then it will not give you the satisfaction because it is staged, it is managed, it is not born out of free will. So God has given us a free will, and love is something we have to inculcate through proper knowledge and then exercise that emotion until it becomes your bhav. And once it becomes your bhav, you keep on nurturing it, decorating it, and protecting it. Right? Jane binu hoye na partiti, binu partiti na hoye priti. So it all starts with proper knowledge. Knowledge will lead to faith, and faith will lead to love. And once love happens, everything else follows. Your heart has started melting. The temperature is reached that point. And now with the molten wax, you put on God's color. And then once the color is embedded in that, then nobody can, color can challenge wax and wax can challenge color, that they are inseparable at that point. It becomes part of its identity at that point. Okay. So that is the key concept that we wanted to talk about. So this is a real thing. If you want to get into that, you need to do practice that devotion and develop love for God. And only through love you can get his divine love. You can get the Premanand. Otherwise, Brahmanand is an option as well. I think that was the discussion going on. We'll get to that topic some other day, the difference between the two. But then you will be bereft of serving God at that point. You will be bereft of getting that association and be his eternal associate at that point. And our constitutional position is that of a Nitya Das. We are part of that whole. So the day we reach that position and be able to serve God, we have realized the absolute truth. Till then, it is a truth. It's a better truth than the other truth, but still not the absolute truth, because we are still not serving God. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's see some lessons from Holika, or the Holi now. Okay. It's important to focus on the lessons. What are the key lessons we can learn from it? And I picked a few before we get into the presentation. I have some time, so let's talk about it. The first one is God is a hack for everything. Okay. God is a master hacker. Right. I'm in cyber security, so we know ethical hackers are there and others are. He has a hack for everything. Now Hiranyakashyap, he approached Brahmaji and said, give me a boon to become immortal. He said, are you kidding me? That's just not on. Okay. I give boons, and then Shankarji gives boons and Vishnuji has to come to clean it up. But immortality, sorry, it's beyond my paycheck. Okay. But he said, okay, in that case, give me a boon where I cannot be killed by a human or a beast on the sky or on the floor, during day or during night, by astra or by shastra. All the kind of things that Hiranyakashyap could think of, he asked for that, and Brahmaji said, Tathastu. Okay, he's under obligation to do that. Immortality is beyond his job description. Okay, no, he cannot give that. So he gave him that boon. But look at what happened. Narsingh avatar happened. And even after all those conditions, he was able to get a hack to that. So you can't beat God. So he killed him on his lap, which is neither sky nor ground, on the door, neither inside nor outside. Right? The Sandhi Kal, dusk, where it's neither evening nor day, basically, nor night. And then he took a Narsingh avatar where is no astra shastra by nails, neither human nor beast, somewhere in between. So God has a hack for everything. So point here being, don't think anything is impossible for God. Okay, no matter how smart you are, he can figure out everything. Okay, through his Yogamaya, he can make impossible possible. Right? That is how he accomplished that. Can a human do that? No, they cannot do that. And the most sweetest, enchanting God can take on that form as well. Okay, it's the same God, right? That we gives you the Brajras, and he's capable of taking on this form as well to protect his devotees as need be. So the first is God is a master hacker. Okay, he has hacked for everything. So let's think that God, even impossible is possible for God. The second is humility, that we cannot control everything no matter who we are or how powerful we are. So if you look at Hiranyakashyap, he was like super powerful at that time. Right? Like he would control everything. In fact, every planet, even sun, moon, they would come at his wish. If you'll say, sun, can you come? It's night. I need you. Right? Maybe he wants to celebrate Diwali with sun. So sun will have to come. And then I think when he would sit on his crown, the Shani Dev would give his back. Okay, can you please step over me and then sit down? Those kind of things. He controlled all the stars and the celestial gods and everybody. Everybody he controlled. But what happens? His own son, he was a rebel. He could not control his son. So the point is, this is how God has created this. We may get a sense of control, although we don't have it, right? Humility is real humility or knowledge is to understand how less we control. We don't control anything. We don't control which family, which birth, which species, which country, which tradition, what kind of circumstances, nothing, right? When we are going to get controlled, and then the sense of control around things around us that we think we are the possessor of those things, right? Our family, our bank balance, house, car, anything, nothing actually. The humility is to understand we don't control anything. God just enables it for us for a reason, and if we do it in that spirit, that is the proper utilization of that particular thing. Otherwise, everything is controlled by God. Okay. Now, in this case, his own son turned against him, right? He said, I am God because I control everything. And he says, no, God is Vishnu. You're not God. I've understood the scriptural knowledge. And how did he understand the scriptural knowledge? When Indra came to know about Hiranyakashyap, he's so powerful, and he's, having a son, Kiyudhu was the name of his wife. He said, let me kill that. So he started taking Kiyudhu, his wife, to Indralok, until Naradji intervened. Naradji said, stop. This guy in her womb is not a demon. He's a Mahabhagvat. So he started reciting the spiritual or Brahma Gyan to Kiyudhu. And Kiyudhu was demoness. I mean, she was not interested at all. But Prahlad, he was hearing it through her ear in the womb itself. Like Abhimanyu story you've heard. He heard it. And he not only heard it, but perfected it as well in the womb itself. So that is who great Prahlad was. So the moment he came out, he was a Brahmagyani already. He understood, it's all God, and he could see God everywhere. And that is how his predisposition was, right from the word go. So that is what Hiranyakashyap had to face that. And then finally he led to its downfall as well. The other lesson that we have is fear gives way to faith on God's protection. Now, if you look at Prahlad, he was fearless. A kid being put amongst the snakes or under a elephant's foot, or being pushed down a hill, or having to sit in the fire, having absolutely no fear is pretty amazing, right? And how did he have no fear? Because God is my protector, Vishnu is my protector. So that's a big lesson. Look at his surrender at that point, and his firm conviction that God is there and he's going to protect me, or I'm going to desire in accordance with his desire. So no matter what happens, ultimately it's a God who's the controller, not my father, no matter what boon he may have. So fear is one thing that will start diminishing. Sometimes this question crops up in our mind, right? How do we know how much we have progressed? Now we can't know that. Only a God-realized saint or God and Guru can know that. However, this is one of the important yardsticks you can employ. Fear. Is your fear reducing in life, or is it increasing? Are you cooking up worries and insecurities in your mind, or are you getting more free and must in life? Okay, so this is a very good yardstick. In 16th chapter, verse 3, the first Devic virtue God talks about is abhayam, that is fearlessness. You become fear. Why do you become fearlessness? Because there is an inherent faith that starts building inside you. That end of the day, God is my protector and he's my well-wisher, right? When we think about our family, we forget that they are God's kids first. Then they became our wife or our kid or our father or my mother. They are God kids first. And he's the well-wisher of all of his kids. So when we start worrying, then actually we are violating the principle of surrender. And we forget that knowledge that everything is under his control. We are his kids, and he has the best interest and the welfare of each kid in his head. We cannot be a proxy for the ultimate well-wisher by worrying. So fear is something that should diminish or reduce over time. It's a great symptom, especially to measure yourself up against as we continue to invest to progress spiritually. And then do not ask God for anything. That's the key. It's a very important learning, because Prahlad, on being, God said, first of all, everybody was terrified looking at Hiranya, this nursing avatar. Nobody wanted to go. That is like God in his ferocious best. But Prahlad was unmoved. He was not at all worried. So he went there and he started dancing with Prahlad. And then he said, I'm very happy with your devotion. Ask me for a boon. And Prahlad was quiet. Right? Maybe he got confused that, okay, what kind of a request is this? But then, end of the day, God is requesting him, so he has to go with that, right? So he said, if you insist on me asking you for something, that you may give me a boon that I may not ask you anything. Now, what kind of a boon it is? If somebody asks us, we will be like, wow, give me this, right? Full list. But he's saying, I may ask you nothing. That was the level of Prahlad, right? So that is the trick. Bin mange mile moti, mange mile na bheek. Yehi hai life ki sabse badi seek. So we keep on asking, but when you stop asking, that's when God starts giving us, even without we asking, because he knows what is good for us and what we need more of. And that is how typically the process goes. So that is another one. So with that, I would like to move on to the next slide, this segment, which is, I hope you have understood all the key things from HOLI now, the key lessons from HOLI. It's important to, get that learnings as well. And now let's move to Happy HOLI, where we are going to have Krishna, who's going to play HOLI, okay, these colors with Radharani, and we'd love to hear that Leela from one of our most enthusiastic participant. She's one of the youngest participants we have on this group, and no prizes for guessing who she is. So over to Urvi. Urvi, are we all set today?
Yes, Radhe Radhe. I'll share my screen, and if it does not work out somehow, we have Sandhya ji as backup, so we're all set. I think it will work.
We have backup today as well. Just make sure your audio doesn't break, okay? So all good otherwise.
Urvi, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead with the co-host now.
So the captain, the ex-captain or captain is earning a lot of points for her team today.
Well, she is the captain of the captains.
Captain of the captains. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so just give me a moment. Is my screen and audio all right?
Your screen is there, but we can see a blank screen. See, you have to play it in a slide mode. Maybe enable editing and then play. And you don't have to activate. Maybe Sandhya, if it is downloaded, you can play the slide.
Yeah, I can. Can someone make me co-host?
Sure.
In the meanwhile, I'll start sharing it as soon as I get the co-host.
In the meanwhile, any quick announcements you wanted to make? Hope you enjoyed the Holika Dahan. We have a family camp coming up, and you can check out the retreat scheduled here at US. Swamiji's tour is going to begin shortly. So please check it out. I think in April, he's going to be in Seattle. So we are all excited to welcome him back here. Okay, we can see the screen now.
Okay, so this has been written by Maharaji. Yaha hori hai, ariya ho raha hai. So you can go next one by one.
Sure.
Yeah, so the story goes like that a gopi, she has been recently married in Braj, and she is witnessing the Holi of Braj for the first time. But she sees that they play it very differently, and then she's talking to her sakhis. So it goes like, Yah hori hai ari, yah ho raha hai, yah hori hai, हाँ यह होरी है अरिया हो रहा है यह होरी है. And then she tells the Sakhis that, oh Sakhis, it has become so difficult to step out of the house, and even at my house they used to play Holi, but what kind of a Holi is this and what kind of a village is this? Then she says, दूबर भयो घरहु ते निकरन, दूबर भयो घरहु ते निकरन, कैसो गामन कोरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है अरी, या हो रहा है, यह होरी रही है, हाँ यह हो रही है, हाँ हाँ यह हो रही है, हो रही है, हो रही है, हो रही है, रिया हो रहा है, यह हो रही है. And then so what happens next is that she's again telling her sakhis that this boy, this Kanhaiya, all the boys in Braj are very naughty, but he is like especially like not only his body, even his mind, it's dark in color, and he's so clever. We go and complain to his mother that Maya, your son, he's not listening and he's just troubling us. But Maya, she's just enticed by enticed by his love, and like he's fooled her like anything. And when we complain to Maya, Maya says that, oh no, my Lala cannot do this, he's so innocent and all those things. So Maya says like yeah, tanu hi nahi मनहु सखी कारो, तनु ही नहीं मनहु सखी कारो, मैया कह यह भोरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है, अरी या हो रहा है, यह होरी है. So even after the gopis insist, Maya does not listen, and she keeps telling, no, my Lala is very sincere and innocent. And then the gopi says that I got married just yesterday, and today he grabbed me and he just shook me so violently. So the gopi, she says that Kali hi bhayo ब्याहु मम आजुही, काली ही भयो ब्याहु मम आजुही, पकड़ी मोही झकझोरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है, अरी या हो रहा है, यह होरी है. So the Sakhi says that, okay, why are you making mountains out of molehills? If he grabbed you and if he shook you, that's all right. But the Sakhi says, no, that's not the case. I'm feeling shy and I'm not telling you completely what he did. But then she goes ahead and she says that, he lifted my gungat off my face. And if that was not enough, he even tore the edge of my blouse. And at last he asked, what do you think of the two of us as a pair? So then it is Krishna's like the Sakhi telling what Krishna told her and what he did after holding her and just shaking her violently. So she says, Gungat tari phari kanchuki pat, gungat tari phari kanchuki pat, kah कह सकहु सखी कस जोरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है, अरी या हो रहा है, यह होरी है. And then what happens next is that like even that was not enough. Krishna, what he did is he took some gulal and he rubbed it into the cheeks of Sakhi, and also drenched her thoroughly in colored her with his pichkari. So she says that the Sakhi, she's telling her friends all the incident that happened. So she goes ahead and she says, Nidhara ka gal gulal lal mali, Nidhara ka gal gulal lal mali, पिचकारिन रंग बोरा है, यह होरी है, हाँ यह होरी है, अरी या हो रहा है, यह होरी है. And then that was not enough for Shyam Sundar. So at last he cheekily adds, the Sakhi, she was thinking that now the Gujjar, her husband, he speaks with his lathi, his stick, and now how can she go home in such a condition? And he'll ask, who did this to you? And all those things, all that tension was going on in her head. So Shyam Sundar, he recognized in a moment, and then he said, okay, Sakhi, if your husband asks who did this to you, just tell him my beloved did this. So Maharaji has explained that there are two kinds of eye. One is the real eye and one is the fake eye. So the fake eye is the body and the real eye is the soul. So the beloved of the fake eye is the fake beloved, that is the husband. But our real beloved, the true beloved, the beloved of our soul is Sham Sundar. So Krishna is just telling her Sakhi the truth, that if your fake beloved asks who did this to you, just tell him confidently and proudly that it was my beloved. What do you have to do with that? So Krishna, he's telling him ideas. Just tell him that Uni kaha jo पूछे पिय तेरो कहियो सो पिय मोरा है यह होरी है हाँ यह होरी है अरी या हो रहा है यह होरी है हाँ यह होरी है अरी या हो रहा है यह होरी है. And then Kripaluji Maharaj, he enters the place and he says that, he told the Sakhi that, oh Sakhi, why are you making false complaints for the sake of the world? I know the truth. Shall I reveal it? So the Sakhi says, Acha, okay, tell me what's the truth. So he says, I know perfectly well that Sham Sundar has stolen your heart and now you just, just saying things for the sake of the world, but I know the truth. So Kripaluji Maharaj, he goes ahead and he says, Kaha Kripalu हम जानत नी के कह कृपालु हम जानत नी के यह तेरो चित चोरा है यह होरी है हाँ यह होरी है अरिया हो रहा है यह होरी है हाँ यह होरी है होरी है अरिया हो रहा है यह होरी है हाँ यह होरी है हाँ यह होरी है होरी है होरी है होरी है अरिया हो रहा है यह होरी है. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Outstanding, Urvi. Very nice. I mean, we couldn't have had better illustration of Holi Leela than the way you did, as if you were seeing that Leela live. So beautiful rendition, your bhavs and melody and the way you explained, getting into the skin of each character. I loved it. It was even more relishable than how you did, because I think you had more time this time around. So I'm so glad you're able to do that today. Loved it. Let's hear a few participants who have to say that. And by the way, I want to I'll tell about gopis a little bit, because people, just to put it in perspective, who these gopis are and why these leelas are so important. But let's hear from a few participants who have some kind words for you, Urvi. So brace up for that. Let's hear from them.
Urvi, yes, मैं तो बोलूँगा बाद में. Let's start with Sandhya ji. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I actually, before Urvi started, I wanted to say a point, and I think Urvi's presentation is making me re-stress on that point. So that was, you were mentioning the key takeaways from the Holika Dahan. So one of the key takeaways I felt is that there is no age barrier. There is no minimum age barrier for getting immersed in devotion, right? And Urvi is a living example of that, right? So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you so much, Urvi. Just loved it. Thanks.
There is no age barrier, and the sooner the better. Prahlad was a classic case. Dhruv Maharaj ji was another one, right? So many young devotees who have perfected devotion at an early age. And Urvi, keep the inspiration going. And we are all here with you, okay, on this journey. So well begun is half done. All right, let's hear from others.
Monica ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Monica.
Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, everyone. Can captains go in Urvi ji's team? Just asking.
You can, for sure. All yours.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome, Urvi. I have no words, seriously. I just wanted to ask this question to make you feel that you've done an exceptional job. Thank you for doing this. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Urvi. You get a lot of grace from God and Guru for reciting this beautiful Leela to all of us on the occasion of Holi. So thank you again from all of us. Yes, let's hear. I can see Champa ji.
Champa ji, Radhe Radhe.
People want to, yeah, Champa ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. I'm speechless, Urvi. Your presentation is as cute as you are. Really wonderful. And can I add one word for Niti's hack point today?
Yes, yes, Champa ji, please, we have time. Please go ahead.
Yeah. That the God has hack for all the things that was very well presented. I just want to add one more point here with regard to in the connection of HOLI. Holika, she had the boon of when she wears her shawl that the fire will not touch her, you know. So with that confidence, she sat with Prahalad, and God, as we all know, he has his own hack. The hack was she had that boon only if her intentions are good and to protect herself. Here, her intention was to kill Prahalad. So what he did was he took the shawl and put it on Prahalad instead of Holika. It flew and wrapped Prahalad and she died. So our intentions are very, very important. If God has given the boon, he knows to take it also. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice, very true. That's where the power of intention. Swamiji has written an entire chapter for us. Purify your intention, purify your intention. And intention is your insurance policy. And Holika is a classic case. You may have the best of the boons, but if your intention is corrupted, God will exercise his hack around that as well. Ambika ji is saying that, Urvi, you moved her to tears. Okay, so that's a great compliment. Great, let's hear. I can see a few more hands. Let's hear from them. We have time, so maybe a minute each. For
Pallavi ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe, everyone. Urmi ji, Urvi, it was mesmerizing. I'm totally speechless. Such a beautiful Leela you presented. May God bless you with all his blessings. Thank you so much. And
Very
happy
heartwarming.
Holi, everyone.
A lot of comments on the chat. You can read through, Urvi. There's a flood of things. So lovely presentation, very heartwarming, moved to tears. Urvi's PhD, blissful visuals, beautiful, amazing. A lot of, you can read through that. Let's hear from, I see three more.
भाई, since हम दो लोगों को present कर चुके हैं, उर्वी और शिरम्या जी, can we skip this thing now कि अगली बार से बस यही करें हर बार presentation हमारे लिए भी, अपने लिए भी, ऐसा हम लोग can change the rules.
We'll be getting there, Shyamji, gradually. So I'm glad we are having this devotional segment, and we will get there. But we have to mix philosophy with knowledge all the time, right? For there's so many new people who come for Bhagavad Gita, so we will do that, but we will have a good mix and match as we go along.
जैसा आप, as you say. Adita ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Urvi, today's presentation was out of the world. Like in reality shows, we see like whether it is dance or singing, they have created, so many people have created their genre, something like that. Have created that. You have mastered it. Like today's singing was on par, like that nuances and all those things, that beats and the bhav was out of the world, and we relished it so much. Thank you so very much. Radhe Radhe.
Very well said, Anitya ji. It's amazing, Urvi. So you can see that blessings of God in the way you sing. So very nice. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let's hear from Sister Duru.
Radhe Radhe. Way awesome. Like it is said in the class by Nitin ji sir, is when there's an satsang and associates, it gets us a positive effect on us. I think you are a live example in our sessions. Hope we all also get more positive vibes from you, so that we also get immersed in bhakti and love towards Sri Krishna. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Very well said. Very well said. Thank you, Lakshmi ji. Yes, a lot of positive vibes coming from the screen itself, Urvi. So we can imagine when somebody sees you in person. Yes, Rupa ji.
छोटा पैकेट बड़ा धमाका, अर्पिता जी से.
अर्पिता जी
मैं बोल दूं, सब पढ़ तो रहे हैं लेकिन कोई बोल नहीं रहा, तो मैंने बोल दिया. और भी आपके लिए था खास तौर से. आप ही के लिए है बस, ये किसी के लिए नहीं।
Yes,
रूपा जी, राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe everyone. Urvi ji, I saw. I always you wanted to say in the group of Vinamra that don't call me Urvi ji, but today you earned it. Urvi ji, I am calling you because, like at this tender age, you took this, and really, Lord Krishna has blessed you with all the bhakti and whatever. And some comments were there. I saw that she is one of the gopi of that lifetime. So you are awesome, and we feel blessed that we are in Vinamra group with you, and we want you as captain. Maybe we are not doing justice to you, but please be in the group and be the captain. Thank you everyone.
Yeah, Rema ji is saying Urvi is a gopi from another lifetime, and I have strong suspicion as well. Okay, so that's a great compliment, Urvi, by the way. All right, let's hear. I know we have 9 more minutes, so real quick, 3 more hands, and then we want to wrap it up.
सुमेश जी, राधे राधे।
राधे राधे श्याम जी, राधे राधे नितिन जी। Urvi is great, and my mind want to touch her lotus feet. I have no word. Thank you so much.
Sumeshi, that's too humble of you, but yeah, Urvi would say that is yeah, but yeah, that's a compliment, I would say, Urvi. People feel that way, but yeah, we're all work in progress, and Urvi an inspiration. We can derive a lot of inspiration from her. And thank you, Urvi, for doing what you're doing, and you should continue to do more of it, more periodically. All right, let's hear from Chandruji.
Radhe Radhe. Urvi, it was a real blissful presentation, worth waiting one night. I will wait a lifetime to see any presentation of yours. You have really bring us into, God realization with such beautiful presentations. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Chandruji. I would second you. Yes, it's a privilege to hear from Urvi, especially the direct Braj Leelas that Maharaj Ji has composed. So it's a wonderful seva, Urvi, and you should do it more frequently. Prepare for more ones, okay? Not just for festivals, but others as well, because you have a knack to recite it really well, and not everybody is blessed with that. Maybe you have that thing, so make most of it and benefit all of us as well in the process, please. Yes, Swati ji.
I have an idea then, bhai. जैसे आप take sessions on Bhagavad Gita, can Urvi also take sessions how to make presentations, how to incline yourself towards Maharaj Ji and Krishna Bhagwan, how to get inclined starting from young age? मैं जैसे इस उम्र में आके भी अकल नहीं आई है, and people at Urvi at such a young age has so much inclination towards Krishna and Maharaj Ji, so she can take some classes maybe once a month if you agree to it.
Yeah, she can do it periodically. I mean, I know she has her studies and other things going on right now, and even after that, she's able to take out time. So it's a good role model for the adults to emulate. Despite the fact that she has studies as her priority, she's able to devote so much of time for seva and find time for so many other things related to service for God and Guru. Sure, but I won't be surprised if it becomes a permanent feature. She will do, I think, her best. I can work with her. But even otherwise, she has a very bright devotional future ahead. So she will be probably one of the first RAS or IS officers who will be a devotee and giving presentations as well. So we wish her the very best. But Shambhai, it can be a reality very soon for sure, right? She's already doing that, and she'll prepare more of it, I'm sure.
A real example of true grace, how God graces us.
Yeah.
Urvi, God bless you always. Swati ji, Radhe Radhe.
Swati ji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you, Urvi ji, for such a beautiful presentation. And in such a young age, she has progressed so much in her spiritually. And she sings so beautifully with that so gopi bhav. And she explained that two eye, I love that. One is the body eye and one is the soul eye. And we have two beloveds. So bodily the husband and the beloved of the eye of the soul. Thank you very much, Urvi ji.
Thank you. And Prabhatji's little daughter is very happy as well. I can see her clapping. You want to introduce yourself? Miru?
Myra,
Introduce
Myra.
yourself. Say Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
And
Radhe,
introduce
Myra.
yourself.
We've got the youngest devotee now. So Shri Ramya's nephew has a competition with Myra now. Very nice to see. Thank you for bringing her, Prabhat, here. Great. So we have been talking about, yes, so a lot of accolades coming your way, Urvi. So good job, great job, like you always do. But I know you have a very wise head on your shoulders. You wanted to say thanks back to everyone.
भी कुछ बोलना चाहती है और भी ये क्या हो गया?
I would let her speak. I'll not
आ
speak.
रही
Don't worry. Okay,
चलिए
go ahead.
बोलिए आप कुछ.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Firstly, I would like to thank everybody for such kind words. But one thing I realized that devotees, they only praise you because their heart is so pure, and you get praises like you don't ever deserve. And the other thing is that you all liked it so much. So one reason I want to emphasize, and it is the truth, the reason is, see, yesterday I was not able to present. Today also Sandhya Didi was presenting and I was trying to manage it with that, but still you all liked it so much. The reason is it was written by Maharaj Ji, and the rush and the words and all the feelings you get, because it is because of the way it has been written and the way he has composed it. So anyone sings it, you'll get the same feeling, and you can check out the video in which Maharaji himself is singing this, and then you'll be just in another world. So, yeah, just wanted to add this. Thank you, Radhe
This
Radhe.
is all because of Nitin Bhai's presence. The way he is so humble, the same way you are. ये इनका ही कमाल है कि हम सब ना चाहकर भी ऐसा बोलना चाहते हैं, बोलते हैं और हम अपनी तारीफ लेते ही नहीं है. Just accept the way you are, Rudvi. It's okay. We all are what we are, and we have special grace. It's okay. Some special. तुम एक खास हो तो रहो ना खास.
So let me save you, Urvi, from that. So ठीक है, Shyamji, I know you can get that, but yeah, see, a devotee's true sentiments is they do understand it's all coming from God, right? See, I remember even Lata Mangeshkar, she used to say every time she would set her foot on stage, she will say thank to God, because she said this is a grace given to her by God. And if she does not utilize that grace or have pride around it, it's me who's doing it, then that grace may be snatched away, and then she may not be able to do justice to the talent that has been bestowed to her by God. So it's always a good spirit for a devotee to stay humble and attribute it back to God, because they have graced it. So use it to the best of your abilities, Urvi. You can bring in more of such leelas periodically because you have a knack for that. And maybe that's God's grace to you to help people like us in these sessions. So you should utilize it to the best of your ability and take it, accept with humility what Shyamji is saying, without taking it to your head, of course, right? Because we understand the big picture around it. So great job, Urvi. I'm so glad you did that today. And that was a perfect way to celebrate Holi. And I think that for a reason it did not happen yesterday, because that is how Krishna had designed it. So I'm glad it happened.
होली है भारत में, सबको होली मुबारक हो.
Happy Holi to everybody.
आप
Yes.
बोलिए क्या बोलना है फिर से आपको.
So happy Holi to everybody, and tomorrow we will do science and spirituality. I've seen a lot of people asking for it, so we will pick up that topic for a couple of sessions. Is science and spirituality should be at loggerheads? Is one hocus pocus, other is rational? Especially for the younger generation who are of scientific temperament, they have this a lot of. So we are going to tackle that topic very systematically, of course, taking from our inspiration from Swamiji. So we'll touch upon that topic tomorrow, and with that, I will hand it over to Ajay and Sunil Bhai. I can
One
see.
second, we're going to say something. और भी कुछ कहना है आपको?
No, Nitin sir ने सब बोल दिया. I have nothing left. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, everybody, for your enthusiastic participation. You can stay back for the book club. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I've already told you the topic, so I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe from my side.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Nitin Bhai. Thank